Hey, thanks for tuning in. I hope you know that we are praying for you, that we want to bring each person who comes to Grace Church before the throne of God in prayer and just ask that He would bring encouragement, that He would bring lift to their souls, and that He would guide and lead them throughout the week. So I hope that's encouraging to you. And one of the things that's been greatly encouraging to me and that I'm just so grateful for is how we came together on Sunday prepared to worship. And we want to invite you again to come prepared to worship, that you would spend 30 minutes in the morning just preparing your heart before the Lord, or that you would come in 30 minutes early and sit in the sanctuary and just sit quietly before the Lord and invite Him to have His way with you, to open your heart up to who He is and what He wants to do in your life, because this is part of a posture of reverence. This is part of what it means to take God seriously as the holy creating God. And so, in our reverence, we want to come and we want to be prepared in how we are respectful, in how we stand in awe, in how we worship, in how we encourage and build up one another. There's so many ways for us to take this posture of reverence, and we want to embrace this practice. If you didn't happen to get one of the cards for reverence that has the word and the definition on it, you can grab one at the Welcome Center. It's just a reminder for us that this is a posture that we're trying to take before the Lord again and again, that this isn't a do it once and we're good to go. This is a coming before the Lord in an intentional, prepared way to receive all that He has for us while lifting His name at the same time. And so that's part of what reverence is. That's the posture that we're aiming to have collectively as a church. And we've chosen to embrace Hebrews 12, 28, and 29 as our verse for the year. And we want to encourage everyone to memorize this verse. And it's on the back of the card. You can take this with you as a reminder, as a way of keeping the verse in front of you so that you can come back to it again and again. So we want to encourage you to grab one of those because we're continuing in that posture this Sunday as we come together in our second week of this series, Reverent Worship, and our title is Worship the Holy. And we're studying from Psalm 96. So if you're looking for a way to prepare your heart for a posture of reverence, reading Psalm 96 and being reflective on that could be very helpful to you in these next few days. Also, as we look forward, this series is designed to help us come into Holy Week with a great seriousness, with a great sense of respect for the Lord, a respect for what He's done and what He's doing, and really being reflective at Good Friday, and then being joyful and celebrating all that He's accomplished through rising from the dead on Resurrection Sunday. And so as we do this, one of the things that we know is we have many from the community who join us for Easter, who come on this weekend in order to worship with us. And they are not worshiping with regularity, but when they come, they seem to be coming on this week. And so we want to be intentional, we want to be mindful, and we want to be good hosts. We want to be hospitable and welcoming. And we want to be thoughtful about who we invite to worship with us. So we want to ask, who's someone in your sphere of influence that you could invite to join us for this Holy Week? We have a little bit of an initiative called Take and Bake, where we're encouraging you to be thoughtful. It doesn't have to be baking a loaf of bread, but the idea is that you would bake up a thoughtful gift and that you would bring it to someone who's in your sphere of influence and bring them an invitation that says, hey, I'm going to be at church on Friday, and I'm going to be at church on Sunday morning, and here's a card, here's the times for the services, and I just want to invite you to come and to join me at those services. And if they choose to say yes, that we would be intentional about greeting them at the door, about walking in with them and sitting down next to them, and maybe even inviting them out to dinner on Friday or to lunch after the service on Sunday, so that we can continue to engage them and be intentional about how we love on them. It's not just about getting them to come to a service, it's about relationally connecting so that we can continue to draw them back to the throne of God. So we're trying to be intentional about how we interact with the people around us this year, and we want to invite you to join us in this initiative. It's a great way to reach people. It's a great way to connect with those who maybe don't know where to look for God, but they're hungry spiritually. And research shows that people who are invited to come to church with someone else often say yes. They often say yes. There's very good reason to invite the people around you because they're likely to say yes, they're spiritually hungry, and they're in desperate need of God. So, those are some of the things that we're looking forward to in these next 2 weeks. But I want to keep one thing in your radar as we look a little bit further ahead. On April 7th, it's going to be Pastor Tim and Ann's last week with us here as part of the staff team. And we are so grateful for the ministry that they have had, for the influence that they've had with each of us, and the ways that they have really helped cultivate in us a greater love for the Lord. And they have worked hard in these last years in preparing the way and leading us before the throne of God. And so we want to celebrate them well. On April 7th, Pastor Tim is going to be preaching, and we're going to pray over him as we send him off, because many of you know he's working at another church. He's not wanting to retire or to step back, but he's wanting to continue to work on mission in churches that are in need of a short-term pastor while they look to hire a full-time pastor, or churches that are hurting, that need to turn a corner. That's kind of been Pastor Tim and Ann's bread and butter in these last years. And so we want to pray over them and send them out as they go. And so we're going to have a few opportunities that morning where you can bring encouragement to them, but we want you to be aware of the significance of that day as well. That's all I have for you this week. Thank you for tuning in. We are excited to worship the Lord alongside you on Sunday.